Hello there, you're watching and listening to another Scoutcast from www.fantasyfootballscout.co.uk, and my name is Mark.
My name's Jonty.
My name's Andy.
No Granville tonight, Jonty? He's probably tied up in politics again, is he? Or
he said something about he's got homework, but seeing as he's in his 40s, I'm not quite sure what that's about.
Has he gone back to Open University?
And then he also said he was tired, so he's getting and his dog ate the notes.
That'll be the old homework excuse.
Yeah, the old homework excuse.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. He didn't have the worst game week of the four of us, so we can't put it necessarily down to a dodgy game week. But we'll talk about our game week.
No, we all did well.
Yeah, they did all right. What are we going to talk about tonight, Jonty? Over to you. You've prepared the list, the agenda, so to speak. I guess.
Well, we're looking at form of fixtures and lots of teams around that. So we're looking at Everton's. We're looking at, so we've got the fixtures, and we're looking at Spurs, they got the form, and then we got Man City, they haven't got the form. And then we're looking at Chelsea and some of their assets as well. We're also going to look at mini-league strategy. We've been asked, it's getting to that time of the season.
I like the sound of this.
People are starting to think, I've got a lead in my mini-league, I want to hang on to it, and hang on a minute, I want to win my mini-league. So we've got a bit of strategy advice there. And that's about it really. We've got, looking at, and also defenders. Defenders, we always keep mentioning them, but they keep changing every week. And so we're going to have a good look at some premium defenders as well.
Got any stats tables for us, John, too? Should we one in particular?
Absolutely, loads of stats tables. And I suspect
you can't have it all, can you?
The goals imminent will make an appearance later.
Fair enough. Andy, we'll come to you first for the game week, shall we? Let's kick off with you. Not a bad one, 94. You're just outside the 100.
Yeah, just outside. Obviously, always a bit disappointing when you get so close not to make the 100, especially when I went into the Man United game with Mkhitaryan, and he had a good few chances to knock me over 100. But yeah, 94 minus 4. A few players that we've probably all got. Heaton, who is just brilliant, just blowing the central. It's just ridiculous how well he's scoring. Whether or not he can keep that up with the fixtures, I've got
a theory on this, which I'm doing in the show tomorrow, but I'll tell you now in advance. I've looked into that. He's got 16 bonus points. Did you know that of all the keepers, all the active keepers, that's the most bonus points a keeper's ever got in a season? Minone got 16 in, I think, 2013-14. So he's going to break the record for bonus points for a goalkeeper in a single season. And my theory behind this, my latest theory, my hodgepodge speculative theory, is one of the reasons I think he does well is because none of the Burnley defenders get any passing bonus. When you think about it, I've had a look on Saturday. To get any passing bonus, you've got to make 30 passes. None of the Burnley defence are touching the ball 30 times to make those passes. So not only is Heaton in a side where he makes loads of saves and they keep clean sheets at home, he's also in a side where none of the back four are getting like 4 or 6 BPS for 30 passes completed. And when you think about it, if you look at like De Gea and Lloris, they're up against defenders who are always going to complete 30 passes. So they're always going to be trailing 4 and 6 BPS because goalkeepers very rarely complete 30 passes. So my latest theory on Heaton is another reason why he's good is Burnley just don't pass the ball at the back. They just lump it forward. That's a bit harsh, but...
No, we know what you mean, though, yeah. He's the perfect fantasy goalkeeper right now. There's no arguments against him, really.
We've always known that, good goalies in poor teams, and, for the sake of argument, let's call Burnley a poor team, relatively. Always good. The classic David James at Portsmouth, But the other thing is, as you described, it's a perfect storm as well. The defenders are good at whacking it away, but that's brilliant for bonus points for Heaton. Yeah, great.
Yeah, so I'm going to have a look, but I'm pretty sure this is a cast iron theory. Absolutely convinced by it. I'm going to put it out there that basically one of the reasons Heaton is so good is because Burnley don't pass the ball around at the back, and it could be a factor. I'm having a look. Anyway, go on. Who else starred for you then, Andy?
Yeah, so obviously Alonso all had in. It doesn't get much better than a double goal from one of your defenders.
I know. Well, we've got a lot of Alonso grief coming up, haven't we, Jonty?
Yeah. It's sad. No, it's sad. It's
no
sad.
grief for me, though, or all of us. I think we all got him, haven't we?
You've still got Holebas hanging around in there.
Yeah, that was nice to get a clean sheet. I mean, he's probably going soon, so a nice clean sheet to send me off. And then, obviously, Mr. Robot himself, Peter Crouch.
Oh, I know.
See, this is what I was going to say to Granville. After Granville saying he was going to get him in when he scored points, some of us actually got him in and got points as well. So I was really happy with that.
He's
11
playing
points.
a blinder, isn't he, as well at the moment? And, like, you can't drop him, and form is in. And awkward customer can easily do United a few points, couldn't he? I think so. I think you've got to play
might be on the bench for me then. I think.
Oh, really? Okay.
But I got a bit talked into because I was looking at Ashley Barnes. People told me to get Crouch instead, so went for him and did the job. So happy days. Sanchez captain instead of Ibra. A few more points there, and good week all in all.
I've got to say, I'm coveting the Crouch at the moment. Definitely. John, to your game week.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I got 85 -4 on that.
What was your hit then?
I'd already got Stanislas in for Emre Can, and it was the Costa news. Whether he was going to start or not start. I don't like willy won't he kind of things. Back problem. And also I'm looking at Chelsea's fixtures as well, and the whole game was great. But I wanted him for both of those games. I wanted Leicester away and Hull, and then I didn't really want him for the next two. So if I was only getting him for one, I looked at Giroud's fixtures, so I got Giroud in. And so, Giroud went off injured, but it's looking better for him now. Apparently it was quite a minor injury. But this is a typical thing. The second time I got Giroud in, and it's not rotation.
You don't have any luck with him, do you?
No, it's his injury. It's the injury with him. But so he went off, which was annoying because he was absolutely going for it. Or rather, I wouldn't say going for it, but it was a game tailor-made for him, and they ended up shipping 4 goals. I got Giroud in for them. So they both scored. So I got 6 goals in total from all my players and 3 clean sheets, which is great really because my defence hasn't been too good recently. So across the board.
What are you doing with Benteke, for God's sake?
Well, I still got Benteke, and then he's just scored 2 tonight. I know it's only Bolton, but I remember he went on that. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to keep Benteke, and as we'll come to at the end, I've actually got a bit of a problem. I'm looking at either benching or getting rid of Benteke, like not playing him. But I don't know. Well, I don't know.
Because he's 6 shots in 6 games.
Yeah, I know. Well, basically, other things have occurred. So I wanted Stanislas. I got Phillips in the week before. In fact, all my transfers in the last 2 or 3 game weeks have been really good. They've all scored or got assists or got me points. But Benteke's just been sitting there, really. So, but at the moment, I've got benching headaches. So.
Have we got a Costa question coming up, or should we touch on this now? Because I'm really interested to know how you felt about the Costa situation.
Well, I think we're gonna look at some other Chelsea assets a bit later. But no, for me as an owner, I looked at various things, and he's not explosive. He's consistent. So what you get Costa for is consistency. And if you only want him for 2 games, and one of those games he's definitely not going to play. You find out on Friday night. So for me, I can see why lots of people shipped him, and especially because Giroud's on form, and then you've got Lukaku who's got the fixtures and the form, and then you've got Kane who's very much got the form, and so you've got all, and if you haven't got Ibrahimovic already, and then there's Defoe knocking around as well, still putting those goals in. So you've got all of these cheaper strikers in some cases, and then you've got Costa. So for me, and lots of people.
Do you think, right? So he's back in training. Let's consider that the back injury is a red herring. Probably is, isn't it? Is it all going to be fine? How's his mental state going to be affected? Do you think it's healed completely, and he's just going to carry on as normal?
Well, I think the big issue is the speculation that China would go for him, Chinese side would go for him, and they'd waive millions and millions. Not that Roman Abramovich or Chelsea need the money, but it would come in handy, and they could get a striker who wants to play for them. But it looks this week that he's not going. It looks like there's some kind of deal in terms of you can go in the summer or perhaps stay, but he looks like he's staying. He seems, despite what the papers were saying, if you follow him on social media and you see clips of their training and stuff, he's a right laugh. Yeah, he doesn't look like the kind of person who takes anything particularly too seriously, and he'll just get on with it, I would imagine.
It's all a bit odd though, isn't it?
It's odd though. It's not good for an owner. I
don't know if he's. We get every time he's going to be under such scrutiny now. Now, if he comes back into the side against Hull, if he doesn't score, if he looks off form a little bit, there'll be questions asked again. Is he playing on his mind? Next time he's booked, it'll be is his temperament going again? I don't know.
What has Conte actually come out and said?
Obviously, he said he had a backup. Yeah, he basically said he missed training with a back problem. That's why he was left out, which clearly can't be the fault. And I think what's interesting is when pundits are asked this, they just go on about bust-ups and arguments anyway. They ignore the fact that Conte said, oh no, it's injury. So people who could be ITK are definitely just presuming there was a bust up. So I don't know what to make of it, really.
Maybe there was, maybe there wasn't. It strikes to me that the way he was handling was like a politician. I think if anyone remembers the sitcom Yes Minister or Yes Prime Minister back in the 80s,
I think you have to be 45 to remember
there was a principle within that where basically it was don't tell the Prime Minister the full story so that he can then go in front of the press and say, I'm sorry, I don't know anything about that. So the way Conte was speaking, it looks like he'd been PR'd. And so he wasn't technically lying, but not technically telling.
I know, but I think he knows what he's doing, Conte. He's very professional. He handled it really well. Best not mention 70s and 80s sitcoms, Joe, because you know what happened. Well, emails about it.
Well, you've already beat Yes Minister by several dozen.
Yeah, we probably have. Okay, my game week. I won't. I try not to be too gloaty. 103 points. Happy with that. Very happy with that. You've put in the notes Spurs triple success. Yeah, I was a bit nervous about that. Going in with 3 players in one team in the first fixture, not very happy about it. It's like, when you have your captain in the first fixture, you kind of feel like, if this doesn't work out, I'm already on a downer for the 3 o'clocks. But I did all right. I mean, didn't have Kane, but Ericsson and Ali chipped in and Rose got a clean sheet. Walker got the assist, but Rose didn't get in. But he looked good again. So I'm quite happy with the Spurs assets. And to be honest, I was looking at the Man City fixtures and thinking, not expecting much from that. Then I watched them at Everton. And I'm kind of optimistic.
Yeah, you're looking good now.
Yeah, I think they're gonna cause City a few problems, and I'm not sure City can have the answers. We'll talk about City later on. Community then, game weeks there, rough with the smooth, John T. Before we get to the Alonso grief, let's talk about the smooths.
Yeah, there's a few smooths. There was JPKY got 107 points. Good, nice moves here. Walcott out for Stanislas. He captained Kane, and he had Alonso and Ericsson. So he had lots of good players there. Ridder Morton, this is good. He had Alonso second on his bench, and it wasn't one of those things.
How did that happen?
I noticed that Andy does with his team, where he puts his non-players in, and people go, "Oh wow!"
So he played Anachibi ahead of Alonso.
Yeah, he actually said he genuinely thought that Ward, Friend, and Peters were genuinely better bets for clean sheets.
Did he admit this?
Yeah, he said that. Yeah, he said, and he genuinely thought that, and so Alonso was second on his bench, but Anachibi and Costa didn't play, which meant on they came. So fantastic, 21 points off the bench. And then this one I quite like. Ruth NZ, one of our regulars here, completely a bit of a left field pick here, brought in Antonio.
That's maverick, because Antonio, obviously 6 weeks ago we were looking at him still, but then he went through that dry spell and he's really out of fashion, isn't he, Antonio? Especially with Payet out of the West Ham team. You kind of think that why would you go Antonio? Free assist, didn't see that coming.
Well, he got rid of Sigurdsson for Antonio, and hello,
Luke's just crashed in.
Wow, this is a momentous moment. Well, I'm just gonna quickly wrap this up, and then we'll come to Luke. But yes, one of the reasons about Antonio, and he wanted a player that you could kind of just a bit cheap, you could just put in, and they could score against anyone. So you can just like leave them in your seat, like a really good fourth midfielder. So it's worked out really well, 15 points there. But yeah, welcome Luke. Hello there.
Oh, is he there? He's muted at the moment. He can't hear us. So there he is. We can see his voice. Oh yeah, there we go.
There he is.
That is a smart looking guy right there.
I'll just turn you up a bit, Luke. Hold on a minute. Let me get into the control room. We're just talking about our game weeks. We're looking at the community game weeks, but you can go with yours now. How was yours? Did you hit 100?
I didn't know, but no Alonso, so I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, no Kane either.
Hold on a minute. Okay, we're going to get to the roughs in a minute, and that is a lot about Alonso. Let's talk to you first about how did you happen to not have Alonso? Did you get rid?
No, I've just never had him. I don't know. It's just so many fires to put out. Never got round to it.
I can't believe it, Luke. You're part of the 90% who don't have Alonso. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, that's me. It's not really been a good shout, has it?
See, I only 10% own him, but whenever I look at anyone's team on FFS, they've all got him. So I think Alonso is an FFS favourite, which is why I noticed the FFS League did well this week. I think because we're heavily invested in Alonso, but you've never been tempted by his charms.
I've always been tempted. I've just had Walker from day one, and I've always had big, heavy front line with Aguero, which I've got at the moment, for example. So I've never had the cash for him. So yeah, it's hurt me.
Deary me. So what was your total in the game week?
I got 82, so still pretty good. Yeah, Antonio with 15, Stanislas with 7, Sanchez captain, Walker with 11, Ibrahimovic. So yeah, pretty good.
So we were just talking about Antonio, and Ruth NZ brought him in, which is a brave move. I thought. Are you holding him even though there's no Payet about? I guess you are after 3 assists.
Well, my planned move was actually going to be Antonio to Coutinho for the Swansea game. I've got the exact money to do it, but after the 3 assists and his form, I don't really know to do it. I mean, especially with he's just come back from injury, it's always a bit dodgy, isn't it? It's just the Swansea at home just looks so lucrative. So I've got a decision to make. I'm not sure either way at the moment.
Okay. I noticed your game week 20 transfer: Sergio Aguero in, Harry Kane out. How much agony did you go through during the West Brom game?
Quite a bit, but it's even worse than that. I've been bleating around on Twitter. I actually had Dele Alli for the 2 home games, which was Burnley and someone else who I can't remember, alongside with Kane and Walker. I then transferred him out after not doing much for Walcott.
For Theo Walcott?
Yes, who had great fixtures, and it made sense because obviously Spurs were playing Southampton away. I didn't want triple Spurs. They then had Watford away and then Chelsea at home. So I thought Dele Alli isn't going to do much here. Cue triple braces. Cue Walcott 0 points in all of them.
Wow.
And then Holebas coming in for minus
got Dele
points.
Alli in game week 14. You were an early adopter.
Yeah.
I think if that was a kickstart, you would have like a special edition everything, T-shirt, the whole lot. You got in Ali really early on, backed him straight away. And then just as his points rolled in, you got rid.
Yeah, that about sums it up, yeah. And because of the 0 from Walcott's, I basically got Holebas for like -5 every week instead or something. So it's compounded. It's
wow.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Okay. John, to give us some rough, I don't think it's going to compare to that, but go on.
No, well, it's Alonso seller, so it's a sliding scale of awfulness. So Fergie time, he just sold Alonso for Brunt. Okay, pretty bad, but Powell just sold Alonso for a hit, so gets worse. Bash Villa sold Alonso on a wild card, so he's used his wild card to get rid of a really great player. And Chow89 sold Alonso and Kane on a wild card. That's a triple whammy of awfulness.
Where did he go? And West Brom at home. Would you sell Kane with West Brom at home? I mean, obviously he had his reason. He probably looked at Lukaku, did he? Or?
I didn't think they would score that many because I thought West Brom would put on the kind of performance they did at Arsenal and Chelsea, but clearly they did try. But without Johnny Evans,
and Neon,
and Neon, so their defence was makeshift. And Spurs are in better form than those other 2 big sides. So, that they obviously did hammer. But personally, I wouldn't have thought it would have been a huge amount before that. But then with the Johnny Evans news, I thought maybe.
Well, they were just fantastic Spurs throughout. I mean, they absolutely dominated. And when, I don't know, as soon as the first one went in, it could have been 5 or 6. Kane could have had more, to be fair. So we got away with it. Non-Kane owners, and Luke in particular, got away with it, really. Okay, let's look at the community questions then, Jonty. What have we got?
Well, we're looking at Everton, really. That's because they've got some really great fixtures coming up. So we were kind of waiting for the City game to go. We didn't know that the City game was actually going to be the start of their great fixtures.
We didn't know that was a gimme, did we?
We didn't know. So they've got, I mean, this is how it goes. So I sorted the season ticker on the site for difficulty, and Everton shot right to the top. So they got Crystal Palace away, Stoke away, Bournemouth at home, Middlesbrough away, Sunderland at home. It's a sea of blue there, sea of blue.
Yeah, I mean, what it is as well is their home form is excellent. I think they're ranked 3rd for defence at home.
Yeah,
and their next 5 home games are, I mean, they've got Palace and Stoke away, which are difficult away games. They can get something out of that. Their next 5 opponents in Goodison Park: Bournemouth, Sunderland, West Brom, Hull and Leicester.
Yeah,
that's their next 5. So you've got to think they're strong already at home. They've got Schneiderlin in, Idrissa Gueye coming back. And what was interesting for me is Lukaku was playing with a smile on his face. I've not seen that for many, many game weeks, which convinced me to do my transfer more and late. But Everton, for me, looking very strong. Andy, your views on them?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they'll be. I'm probably going to take a hit this week, and it may be for 2 of their players. Haven't decided which way I'm going to go yet, but Lukaku's someone I want, especially if Giroud is out. I'm playing 3-5-2, and I might have him as my second striker. And obviously a defender, Baines versus Coleman, I suppose, is the main question. It'd be Baines for me. Those penalties are always going to be in the back of my mind. They're creating similar chances as well, so he'd be the one for me. And the other one I'm actually looking at is Morales, who I know is kind of one of those players that everyone doesn't like owning, but always seems to do well when he gets a run on the team. 2 goals, 2 assists in the last 4 games. It's just whether or not he's going to keep his place in the side. But yeah, I like the look of him. I don't know if anyone else is considering him.
So you're firmly in the Baines camp, are you? You've looked at Coleman, Baines, and
I've looked at them for like recently and over the season. And Coleman, shots wise, are about the same, but Coleman tends to get more in the box, so he's getting in the box more. Chances created, Baines is a little bit ahead, I think, and he's got penalties. So
see, that's the thing. When they've
same
got
price
fixtures,
as well.
You've got to think they're going to get a few pens over this run, particularly at home.
You'd hope so.
And I know that Koeman said that Lukaku may take some, but it would depend on the state of the match. So if it's 0-0, Baines will take it. If it's 2-0, Lukaku might take it. It's basically what he said. So that'll be quite interesting. Could be frustrating as well. Luke, your thoughts on Everton? Are you eyeing them up as well? Got to be, haven't you?
The fixtures are great, aren't they? Yeah, I can't see why not. Lukaku, Baines, the names that have been mentioned, I think they're going to be good options. Not so sure about Morelos, just from a personal point of view. He's, as Andy was mentioning there before, he's always looked the part, and because he's so selfish, obviously, he's really interesting to us. Always shoots rather than.
I just don't forgive him for taking the ball off Baines for that penalty.
Exactly, stuff like that, and it always just seems to be an injury or even a red card or something that seems to hamper him. But if he's there and he's playing, he often produces points. So I suppose it's one to consider. But yeah, Lukaku for me probably a definite. Baines as well. Injuries recently has been quite bad, but he's had a solid run now. So you can't suspect everyone's having an injury all the time, so it does look a wise move to me. Yeah.
Jonty, a few more names for you. I mean, I'm looking at Funes Mori and thinking he got some goals last year, 4-6. If he's going to play every week and you can't afford Baines and Coleman, I might dip in for a bit of that. And also Joel, the goalkeeper, who looks to be ahead now of Stecklenburg, so maybe him as well. There's plenty there. Tom Davis and even this fella called Ross Barkley who's been knocking around.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was my nicely segued in because he was my fancy on a wrist last week, and he delivered, which was great. But yeah, so a few people have been asking questions about the why is our last Coleman or Baines. So obviously, from Andy's point of view, Baines wins that one, and Netley Lucas says is Lukaku essential? So even in a 3-5-2. And then the various other questions, internal error and Firmino is better than you, also ask about Lukaku. That's the player that people are looking at. So I look at kind of points per match, and Lukaku's doing really well. He's got 5.8, which is pretty good there. Baines is 5.2, but you consider the price difference. That's pretty good as well. But yeah, Joel Robles is 6, so he's better value perhaps than Lukaku even. So yeah, if you can't afford Baines and you want to take that slight risk, you've got another playing goalkeeper, take that risk that he has actually got that number 1 jersey, then yeah, I would go for that. But looking at the stats, Barkley is your assist man, as has proved. He's far and away over the last 4 game weeks the biggest creator of chances. He's putting in he's taking the majority of corners. And he's putting all those crosses in as well. Morales as well is putting the crosses in as well, but he's not creating as many chances. Obviously, Lukaku's doing what we know he should be doing. He's getting lots of shots in the box and he's getting lots of them on target. That's good. That means he's happy. Baines actually quite low down there, but he's got those penalties as well, and he's got a good home form. There's something else I'd mention, just as being a fancy manager of a good few years' experience. Something about Everton, when they have a good run of fixture, they always do well. Players like Baines, Lukaku, they always do very well. And sometimes I've missed out on that, and I've kicked myself because I've looked back and I thought, God, why didn't I get them for that? Baines has got 8 points, 10 points, 12 points over the last 3 game weeks, those kind of things. And every time I've got them in, I've always been happy. So yeah, I just don't think.
The thing is, I think you've got to. I mean, Lukaku isn't fixture dependent. He can, he's very random with the way his points are distributed. So you look at Lukaku's fixtures, and sometimes it looks odds on he's going to get you points, and he doesn't. So he can frustrate. But I agree, across the team, Everton normally perform to fixture.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm looking to try and. I mean, there's a question from internal error interested me straight away. Is Defoe continue to compete Lukaku? I don't think he is, because that's the transfer I've made. I've taken Defoe out. And I've even done it for a hit. I'm that confident that I think Lukaku is going to outperform Defoe, just because I know I've said that Everton are, Lukaku often frustrates, and you can't tell by the fixtures. But I just watched him in that game against City, and I just got this vibe off of Everton. Tom Davis and Ross Barkley's playing well now. Morales seems to be finding a role. Lukaku, as I said, played with a smile on his face, and I haven't seen that in his game for quite a while.
He looked interested for once, didn't he?
He did. He really did.
Yeah, I agree with that, because often you can tell when he's not on it. He just doesn't. His touch isn't there. He doesn't seem bothered. Again, City was throwing his body in right towards the end as well. So yeah. I think
The other thing about him, I checked, because I know we always say we don't know when he's going to score, but he's actually only scored against the top 6 teams twice, both against Man City. Otherwise, it's always been the easier fixtures this season. He's scored 16 or assisted 16 times in 20 matches. So he's been fairly consistent if you own him over a period of time. And like you said, I think now is the time to get him.
Yeah, I just was fearing not having him. And I looked at Defoe's fixtures, and Defoe is so strong at home, and Luke will be shaking his head as to why I got rid of him, because he regularly texts me every time Defoe scores for me. But he's got Tottenham in his next home game, the strongest defence in the league. And then he's got Southampton in his home game after that, are a strong defence when they feel like it. And then it's City at home. I know. So the next 3 home games are Tottenham, Southampton, City. They're not easy home games. And then he's got a really bad run of away games as well. Everton away, they're the 3rd best home defence. Middlesbrough away, very strong home defence. I think Defoe is going to regress. And let's not forget he's had 5 penalties. I mean, can that be maintained? So in the end, I talked myself into it, did it for a hit, and I'm okay with it, because I think Lukaku can deliver for me, and I'm very confident in Everton. I want to get another Everton player in. The reason why I mentioned Robles in goal, or Joel, is because did we notice that Heaton has got 2 of the next 8 are at home, so he's got 6 away games in 8 game weeks now, and Heaton away from home is not the same as at Turf Moor. So there's even a chance that people will be looking at Heaton and going, maybe it's time to sell, or certainly get a backup keeper like the Everton keeper who's got strong fixtures. So loads of potential there, I think, Jonty. I think we've answered that one. Let's move on, shall we?
So yeah, we're looking at defenders. This always comes up. I've never known a season like this where people want to talk about defenders so much. But so we call this stocking up at the back. So that's his name. Has Rose, Alonso and Koscielny, has had for some time. And they're absolutely delivering for him week in, week out. 1 or 2 of them is scoring big for him. And he's averaging. I think he worked out that, I think it was him that worked out that they were doing better than or the same as Aguero if you averaged all the points out. So if they're like 5.5, 6, 6.5 million. So obviously you see the value there. And relegation battler, done the same thing really. He's over the last 8 game weeks. He's just been focusing on those premium defenders, and it's really been paying off. I think they're right to, because they are putting in those performances. And last week we mentioned some of those key names. We know about Rose and Walker as well, and I think you can put Baines and possibly even Coleman in that category as well.
Yeah, I think the fixtures, Everton, I think you've got to look at an Everton defender. I'm looking at Baines to sit alongside Rose and Alonso for me. I might have to sell Hazard to do it, but I'm not, after the whole game, I'm not worried about that. I think I can probably do that, given his output recently. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know whether I'll go 4 at the back, but I do think it is time to load up. It's the wing-backs. Like, 8 teams played wing-backs at the weekend. 8 teams. And it's just like every team. It's almost like everyone's going, oh, Chelsea are doing well with that wing-back system. I'll have a go at that. Middlesbrough tried it. Hull tried it. I think Sam Allardyce is on the verge of trying it next, by the way he's shopping around. I just think and that's helping us, because these players are suddenly pushed into midfield. Rose and Walker are more or less wingers, aren't they, in a fantastic team? Andy, your views on loading at the back. I mean, what's your back line looking like in terms of spend?
It's not that high. I think I've got Alonso. Then Brunt is actually my next highest priced defender, 4.9 I got him for, and then Jones, Holebas and Amat. So I do want to upgrade a bit. It's just getting the transfers to do it really. Baines will probably be the next one on my list. And if I get the luxury of having the money, I really want Danny Rose as well. But I think Brunt maybe is not such a... if Niam isn't going to be able to play, then he's probably going to play left back. So suddenly he doesn't seem as quite a good option. But given their run of home games,
their next 5 so strong.
Yeah, I still think he's good value. If you're looking at a value pick, he's probably top of the list for that for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Luke, your views on? How expensive is yours back line at the moment?
It's not that pricey, but I've had Cedric, who's been a nightmare.
I know.
It's just been so unfortunate,
Yeah.
They had a good run of fixtures, and Southampton always been pretty strong. They always average about 12 clean sheets a season, or just above that even. And he was getting all the bonus and everything, and he looked a good, good option. I think you were considering it at one stage as well, weren't you, Mark? And I managed to get him in, and it's just been a nightmare, really. Either injuries or suspensions or all sorts of stuff. I can't.
The terrible rotation in Southampton. I mean, I was lucky because I was on the verge of moving for him, and I just gave it enough game weeks to raise concerns with the rotation with Martina.
Again, I picked players too early. It seems to be my problem now. I got him in a little bit before that. Probably not the best idea. But yeah, in terms of value, I've got Brunt as well, who's done really well. I'm going to keep hold of him. I've got Walker. I've got so much value tied up in him, and he just looks good going forward as well. So I can't see me getting rid of him. Cedric would be the one to go. The others are Matt and Holebas. So potentially Baines. I mean, I think most of us thought when Coman went to Everton that... and with Idrissa Gueye there, that their clean sheets would go up substantially this season. It's just not been the case. And I just think that they will regress to that mean, and maybe now the fixtures are a time for it to happen. I expected them to hit like 14 clean sheets or something, and they've been nowhere near that. So I really hope it goes up. Similar to Arsenal, we were talking about Arsenal a minute before. I mean, every season they finish with like 14, 15 clean sheets. I don't know what they're on at the moment, but I don't think it's anywhere near that.
They're on 7 at the moment.
Oh, really? So I can only assume that they're going to get at least another 7 towards the end of the season. It doesn't look that way, the way they're defending, but surely, seasons past have told us that they hit that number, very often. So, Yeah,
I think, Jonty, coming to you on this, Idrissa Gueye's coming back. They've got Schneidlin sitting there as well. That looks formidable, doesn't it? The screen.
Yeah, that did. I see lots of clean sheets there as well. I mean, for me, I've got Alonso. I mean, as far as if he stays fit, season keeper definitely. But my mate Charlie Daniels, he's been great for me.
You're going to cling to him, though, because that ball.
No, I'm not. It's going to be a fixture thing for me with him. I got him in just to be a bit different, but I've also got him in keeping him for these fixtures coming up. So they've got Watford and Crystal Palace at home. That looks good. And then Everton away. That could be tricky. But the thing with Bournemouth, like a lot of these teams, their fullbacks are so attacking. And we talked about this last week. The best players at Bournemouth are their defenders, if you're going to invest in them. But then they've got Man City at home. So you don't know how that's going to go. And then West Brom away, the way West Brom are playing attacking football at home, that's potentially tricky. So I'll probably be looking to move on there. But I'm in the market for Baines, definitely. And I'm definitely in the market for one of Rose and Walker. And so I'd like ideally Alonso, Baines, Rose or Walker. And I've got Johnny Evans as well to tap into kind of cheap sorts of.
See, it has changed. It's shifted a lot because we were looking at one premium and then a load of 4-5s. At the start of the season, it's gone. It's definitely shifting that way, and I think it's got a lot to do with Tottenham fullbacks.
Well, we're going to talk about Eden Hazard a bit later, but one of the reasons I got rid of Eden Hazard, apart from looking at his away stats, and I got rid of him ahead of 2 away games, was that I had a situation where I had lots of premium players like Ibrahimovic, Sanchez, Hazard, and I had 0 in the bank. I had no flexibility to do anything. But once I got rid of him, so at the moment I'm sitting on 3 million in the bank. I've got flexibility. I can get Baines in if I want. I can get Harry Kane in if I want. I've just got that flexibility to do things. And one of the reasons I did that was because of these premium defenders. I think, the second half of the season, you can't be sitting there. I can't be sitting there with Johnny Evans, Holebas and Amat playing every week. This is not going to work.
They're not playing every week. So
no, they're not even playing every week. So you can't afford that. You've got to be tapping into the likes of Baines, I think.
Yeah, well, it's more exciting that way, isn't it? And I just think let's look at Spurs in particular, because I think when you've got one of Walker and Rose, you're always expecting. Doesn't matter about fixture because they're so far forward. You think that they can deliver attacking returns anyway. Like I'm thinking of probably going to start Rose at Man City. Because to me, he's almost a left winger for them. So let's talk about Spurs. Lots of questions on them.
Yeah, I mean, Hamish asks, which Spurs players are essential? Which 3 would you pick if you're going to be tripling up? And then Arkham goes a bit further, tripling up on Eriksen, Ali, and Kane, inspired or bonkers. And then a few questions about QPR asks about is Kane a season keeper? And then finally, Mark Harborough. This could be telling. Will Spurs be as solid if Vertonghen is out for a long period? I understand today that he's going to be out for 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be between 6 and 10.
So they've been playing 3 at the back. Will they go back to a 4 at the back, which could curtail the attacking instincts of Rose and Walker a little bit? Possibly, we don't know. Or will someone like Wimmer come in? And will they
Ben Davies even?
Or Ben Davies, will they be as solid there? We don't know. So it's a bit of an unknown. I don't think it's going to hurt Rose and Walker too much. My instinct says that they're still absolutely great buys, but it's worth highlighting. It's worth kind of watch this space. If you're like me, you're thinking of getting a Rose or Walker in 2 or 3 game weeks time.
Yeah, it is a concern because ordinarily when I'm looking at trebling up on Spurs, and I think it is important to have 3 Spurs at the moment. They're just flying, aren't they? Fixtures aren't brilliant, but form is just overruling that for me. Eriksen, I think, is a must, and I think one of the defenders probably was a must until this Vertonghen setback, and now I'm like, maybe. But the thing is with Rose is he takes free kicks and corners on that side as well, so you've always got some potential for attack. Walker doesn't, so if he's not getting forward as much, then it might be more of a problem for him. So I think Rose is the better option of the two. So I'm going Rose, Eriksen, and if I didn't have Ali, I probably would get Kane up front, but I've got Ali, so honestly, in my heart, hand on heart, I would say it's Kane, Eriksen, and Rose for me. Andy, your view on Spurs? What 3 would you go with?
I wish I had 3 of them. I have 0 right now. I was really worried after that West Brom game. I think Eriksen looks really good. I definitely have him. And now I suppose it depends if you're playing 3-5-2 or 3-4-3. If you're playing 3-4-3, I think I'd really want Kane. In 3-5-2, I feel like I can go without. And then I would just double up with Ali, I think. And then obviously Edge bring in one of the defenders. Walker and Rose both look pretty good. Rose is just a favourite of mine, so he'd be the one I'd go for. But I think Eriksen's the main man. And you can't go wrong with Kane up front right now, especially with this Costa situation. And we'll come on to Aguero later, but with him not looking that great either, Kane's definitely a really good option right now.
Luke, I guess you're not going to be singing Kane's praises, are you, having just shown him the door?
I still did get some points off of him. I'm not that bad feeling towards him. I still like him. I'm sure he'll come in again at some point, maybe even for Aguero early doors, even maybe this week, because Aguero is just doing my head in. I'm not sure if we're going to talk about him later, but Jesus.
Oh, we are, yeah.
Okay. Another thing I just want to point out actually quickly is I saw a stat on Twitter. I don't know how true it is because it's coming from Twitter, but apparently Spurs win more games with Wimmer in their team than they do with Vertonghen. So I don't know how that reflects to clean sheet potential. But I think it's Alderweireld who's more important.
Yeah, I think he's the main man there.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how much it will affect him. I guess we'll have to see. But yeah, I don't know if that stat is true or not, but it's out there and it was on Twitter at some point. So I think he did come in the past. Maybe it was last season at some point. He did pretty well at the beginning of the season for them. I can't remember.
Yeah, and I think he'll be the go-to. I mean, clubs are sniffing around with him, so I think that Pochettino's got to give him a go. But he could play Davies that left side if he's playing the free. It's going to be interesting. For me, I think Rose gives you that protection of attacking returns if they do concede, which I know Walker's got 5 assists more than any other defender, but I just think the set pieces in the end will tell for Rose. So would you go Eriksen as well? Would you say Eriksen over Ali?
I'm not sure on that. I still think Ali's got more goals than him, but I can't argue with what Eriksen's doing at the moment. It's just, again, it's the historical thing. He seems to go on runs, Eriksen, and then just completely tail off. And produce like Tadic. He produces like Tadic-like numbers the whole season most of the time, but then rarely seems to go on a run of actually scoring FPL points. But at the moment, you just can't argue against him.
6 double figures in 10, isn't it?
Whoa, there you go. I mean, I personally prefer Ali just because I prefer the goal-scoring guy. He seems to almost push ahead of Kane, and I think there's going to be games where he will get more races and things like that, just simply because he's so far up front. It's just the way I prefer to play it. I prefer goals and assists.
John, we need 4 Spurs slots, don't we?
Well, yeah, ideally, but I don't know. I mean, I still think in another season, yeah. But then you look at some players at Arsenal or Liverpool, which we're forgetting about, and a whole variety of other teams and a whole variety of other players that can compete with some of these players from Spurs. So I don't think tripling up is necessary, but getting 1 or 2 is. I mean, for me, I had a look at the Rate My Team computer on the site, looking at best value, really, and it's as you would expect, really. I mean, Rose is better than Walker. He's offering better value. He's going to get more points over the next 6 game weeks for your per million. And Eriksen is better value than Ali, so he's going to get you more points. That's what the Rate My Team computer predicts. And I think from the amount of points, the variety of ways Eriksen can get points, particularly with assists as well. And then Kane at the bottom, because that's to do with his price as well. So for me, I would think I think doubling up is fine. I think Eriksen, I think, is because he's so involved, would be my priority, and then Kane. And I think the Man City game, it was weird. I think it was Torres Magic I was speaking to on site, where it's become very strange that a priority is actually a Spurs attacker away to Man City rather than a Chelsea attacker home to Hull. And that's a weird state of affairs. But nevertheless, you look at Man City, we'll come to later, and you look at Spurs, and it's actually not that crazy. And I think one or two of Eriksen, Ali or Kane are going to get a big score against City the way they're playing.
You've got to think they're going to be in their face. They're not going to go there and sit back like Chelsea did and play on the counter. They're just going to go. They're going to go there thinking we can win this. We'll just press them, get the ball off them, and score goals. It's going to be pretty simple, their game plan. And I don't know if City are going to be able to cope with them. Looking at the way they played against West Brom. I mean, like, you look at Touré and Zabaleta in midfield against Wanyama and Dembele, and that looks like a massive...
They beat him in the reverse fixture, right, as well. It was 2-0, I think, so...
Yeah, and done it once already.
Spurs are doing really well against the bigger sides.
Yeah.
And they're much better prepared for it. And you look at City, I mean, look at it all starts with Bravo. I mean, Pep Guardiola's really got to have a word with himself. You know, he's got this idea how he wants City to play. And it's starting from the back. He wants them to play, but he's actually got them to be starting awful from the back, and it's spreading through the rest of the team. And that's not good enough for Man City. I mean, any other manager would be sacked by now. The way
I think I said at Christmas he's under pressure. I think Granville laughed at that, but I just think, I mean, if he gets humiliated by Spurs in front of his own supporters, which isn't out of the question.
Well, De Bruyne has to come back to centre-back to pick up the ball in most of the games I'm watching.
De Bruyne, I think De Bruyne hasn't scored since game week 5. I mean, he's probably been the biggest disappointment of all, because he was a must-have in our teams. We were looking at going, Pep coming in, well, we need Aguero and De Bruyne probably. But
he actually started really well. I mean, commentators were saying how he's going to be player of the season, and he did look the part. It's just... Like you say, City's defence is just all over the place. When's Fernandinho back? He does make a big difference to them, even though
he's got 2 more games, I believe. So, I mean, he's not going to make the Spurs game, so he's going to be out. But it's interesting. Let's move on to Chelsea then. Hazard versus Pedro. This is a subject close to my heart. I'm looking at this myself.
Yeah.
John T.
Me too. If I'm going to be replacing Sigurdsson, I'm looking at Pedro, not Hazard. Because I don't really want all that money tied up with Hazard again. So yes, Skloppy Cops and Jack the Cat ask, is it worth holding on to Hazard after the whole game? And then Hurricane asks, is it time to swap Hazard for Pedro? And Hurricane Gilbert asks, is Hazard more of an assister than a goal scorer? So
let's just touch on the fixtures first of all. We're talking about the whole game. After that, it's Liverpool, Arsenal, then Burnley away. So Burnley sounds easy, but Burnley away is a very tough fixture.
I look at that, and then they've got Swansea at home. So after the whole game, I think they've got 3 games that are tough.
Yeah.
And I certainly don't think any Chelsea attacker is essential there, especially not an expensive one.
What do the stats say, though, John T?
So the stats say, well, I could be regretting getting rid of Hazard. In fact, I knew I would against Hull at home because his home form is excellent. And the last 4 game weeks, he's actually putting in the underlying stats. So he's not like just meandering around doing nothing. He's created way more chances than... in fact, the last 4 game weeks, Pedro hasn't created any. It's Hazard. He's been dominating it. And he's had 9 goal attempts as well, which is the same as Costa over that period. And shots on target good. Because Pedro's getting those shots on target. So he's not as prolific behind the scenes for the underlying stats. But it's that price difference. So he's 7, so he's way over 3 million cheaper, and it's what you can do with the other 3 million. And I keep coming back to this. So that Everton game where we all rushed to get Hazard in because he got 19 points, Pedro got 16, and everyone ignored him. And then Pedro is the one that is popping up with a goal at the weekend at Leicester, not Hazard.
Yeah, Hazard's always become like a David Silva. Like, he looks fantastic, plays really well, doesn't deliver. It's very frustrating. The one thing I would say about the whole game is Hull have conceded 10 penalties this season. 11 is the Premier League record in a season, so they're only 1 shy of the Premier League record. And you look at the right side, if Costa plays, then Hazard's going to move back left. The right side of Hull's defence currently is Harry Maguire, big, clumsy clogger Harry Maguire, and Diamande playing right wing back against Hazard and Alonso. Field day comes to mind. If Hazard comes out of that game without any points, I'll be getting shot so quick. But surely he's got to profit from that. I mean, Maguire is a big centre-half. He's getting exposed on the right side. And he gave away the penalty against Fraser, against Bournemouth. And they've given 10 this season. I've got to surely... I mean, I don't know if I'll go so far as captaining Hazard, but I've got to see profit out of that, haven't I?
Yeah, I mean, Hazard, that's a great game. I mean, I think he's arguably the best captaincy shout for the game week, based on home form, based on those underlying stats, and based on the fact he's playing Hull, as you said, are absolutely woeful. Last time Chelsea played Hull, I remember there was some prediction. I think it was Paul was talking about that right hand side again, and I think it was William who was on duty that day, and he had a field day as well.
He scored twice, didn't he? I think.
Yeah,
that was the game they moved to 3 at the back as well.
Yeah, exactly. They moved to that system and they completely annihilated them at home. Yeah, Hazard looks a great shot. I mean, because it's a couple of game weeks ago since I got rid of him, I don't have that immediate thing of, and also since I got rid of him, I've got Phillips in, and it's filled that space. Benched Phillips last week and got Stanislas in. So I've had good points from the Hazard slot. So I feel okay. But okay. I wouldn't be selling Hazard this week if I had him.
Andy, your views on this? I mean, there's a school of thought that think Hull have improved defensively under Marco Silva, which, yeah, to an extent they probably have. It looks that way, but you still got to think there's goals in that game for Chelsea, isn't there?
Yeah, for sure. Like Johnny said, there's absolutely no way you're selling Hazard this week. After that, though, I don't know. I've got the thing I'm eyeing up is the money, because I don't have a Spurs midfielder. Obviously, getting one in for Hazard will free up $1.5 million-ish. But I'm looking at him. He scored over the course of the season. He scored 6.3 points per match, which is only beaten by Sanchez, Ibra, Costa, and Kane, and only just as well, apart from Sanchez. So he is pretty consistent over like a period of time. So I'm just wondering whether we should ride out the next couple of fixtures and then still have him in for the good ones. But the only problem is if he doesn't deliver against Hull, I think his price is going to tank.
This is it, yeah.
Like we've already seen what happens to big players when they don't do well. They're going to see the next fixture isn't great. No points against Hull, which, yes, even if they've improved defensively, you'd still see it as a really good game for Chelsea. So that could be a 0.3 drop, and I just don't want to take that when there's other midfielders doing well. So I can see an argument for keeping him, but I'm already eyeing up the money and bringing in a Spurs midfielder personally.
Yeah, and for me, you've got to think Coutinho's back in the picture as well.
Yeah.
I know Liverpool's fixtures are bad, but Hazard to Coutinho is something I will look at if Coutinho impresses against Swansea. I know they've got bad fixtures, but I just think he's kind of a fixture-proof asset. I want to see a bit more Liverpool, but that's an obvious move for me, and then I can go Baines at the back. So it's what I can get for that money. But if Hazard blitzes Hull with a couple of goals and looks fantastic, I may well hold him. Because with 5 in midfield, I can probably afford to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's becoming a differential for me, so it may be the way I go. Luke, your views on Chelsea and Hazard. Is he in your team, by the way?
Yeah, he's in my team, yeah. It's just echoing what you guys have said, really. I mean, I can't argue with his potential against Hull, that's for sure. But I'm just looking at it now. He's got 126 points. I know he's been consistent, as Andy was just saying, they're in sort of points per game. But for 10.4 million, 126 points, you've got like Lallana, who's like 7.7. He's got 107 points, with 19 points less, for like nearly 3 million. It's just, there's so many players in that category as well, not just Lallana, who are turning very similar points for a lot less money. I just don't think he's really worth it at the moment. I mean, obviously I'll keep him for Hull, as I've said, but after that, barring an absolute masterclass, I think we've got to look at taking him out, to be honest.
Yeah, he needs an Everton performance, doesn't he, Jonty, I think?
Well, I don't think so, because he got an Everton performance, and we've talked about chasing tails before. He got, after that Everton performance, he wasn't worth the money afterwards. He was terrible.
I know, but he needs another haul like that. And
well, yeah, I mean, but it won't satisfy us, I don't think, but it will satisfy.
Well, it'll completely fool me. It did once, so.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't fool me, but I would. I don't know, if I got Hazard back in, it would just be a 1 week luxury move.
It didn't hurt me too much, though. I only sold Sanchez before he's 23 points in the stadium.
Well, that's it.
It didn't hurt me that much.
And there's so many other. I mean, yeah, I just think Hazard's home form is exceptional and his away form is poor, and that's what it is.
I don't think it's his form. It's just his.
No. It's fantasy. It's fantasy form. Obviously, everything here, because I've had this before on site where people say Hazard's terrible away. People say, "Oh, I saw the match. He looked amazing." And he does. His fantasy form is undeniably poor away. Because we did this, we looked at his stats last week. No. He's the guy that tries to create the chances away from home. At home, he's the guy who tries to score. And so,
He becomes Luka Modric away from home, which is very frustrating. Okay, let's quickly do Man City, then move on to mini league strategies. I really want to spend some time on that. Manchester City, then we've touched on it already tonight. What are the questions here? Because
Ginola asks, are there any Man City assets worthy of consideration ahead of their nice fixture run? And after Tottenham, they got West Ham away. We saw what Aguero did at West Ham away last season. Swansea at home, great fixture. We saw what Aguero did in his debut. Remember when he came off the bench in his debut for Man City against Swansea? And he scored a couple of goals. And then Bournemouth away, they could do some damage there. And then Manchester United at home, that's tricky. So a bit patchy, but they've got a nice run of three games. So, Ginola asks about which Man City assets. And Jarvis asks the main question, what to do with Aguero?
Well, let's go straight to Luke with this because he's got him in, right? So, I mean, you watched the Everton game, Luke.
Yeah.
What did you make of his performance in that?
Abject. It's just
woeful was another word. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, oh my God, it's just City. I think City have done this in the past before, haven't they? And I'll tell you what I'm holding on to. It's January. It's the transfer window. Can they afford not to buy a ridiculous amount of players? I know I'm not hearing many rumours of what's going on, and it's hard to buy people in January. But we could be sitting here at the end of January having them signed, a decent fullback, a centre-back, another midfielder, and they could suddenly start being a force again. But outside of that, I honestly can't see it at the moment. Pep Guardiola, he just looks like a broken man. Yaya, they've got really bad luck with the Gundogan injury because I think Yaya Toure, he come back with a bang and he scored the 2 goals. But apart from that, he seems to have regressed into sort of a bit of his lazy style as usual. Zabaleta in midfield, they're just getting overrun. They can't even get the ball upfield. De Bruyne's literally at centre-back half the game trying to carry the whole team up.
Well, De Bruyne's playing deep. Aguero's having to drop deeper and outside the box. I mean, Andy's got some numbers on this. His touches in the box apparently are just plummeted, haven't they?
I had a look. I just don't see how anyone can justify his price right now. So I had a few talking about all City players. So Sterling and De Bruyne between them have had 1 shot on target in the last 4 game weeks. So neither of them are looking too good. And also, what just came to mind actually, Pep Guardiola is essentially a younger and slimmer version of Van Gaal. The only word he doesn't just say is philosophy. He's always talking about his philosophy. I think he's just very stubborn right now. But anyway, that just come into my head. But yeah, so I'd look at
Van Gaal retired today as well, so natural successor.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd look at Aguero. So last 3 game weeks, obviously he played against Burnley. They had 10 men. He only played 45 minutes. But he's had 3 shots in the box in the last 3 matches. Abel Hernandez for Hull had that more than that in the last game. And then I looked at touches in the box. So in 243 minutes, Aguero has had 7 touches in the box. Afobe has had more than that in 100 less minutes. Rashford had 11 in 58 minutes. And this is my favourite one. So Aguero's had 7. Peter Crouch in 40 minutes more has had 34. Aguero is just nowhere near the goal right now.
What parts of the body of Peter Crouch touched the ball?
Well, I know, but I wanted to get him in. But he's just not near the goal right now. And they have had tough matches, but I just don't see how you can justify that money. I said it last week. There's so many other options in the game right now. And everyone I've seen who's got Aguero in their team, somewhere in their team, over midfield or defence, just looks bad because of Aguero. And their whole team could be improved by getting rid of him.
What gets me as well, I watched the Everton game and there was 2 flashpoints towards the end. One where Tom Davies was tackled by Sterling. Aguero rushed in, wanted to get involved. He almost got booked for that. Then later on in the game, Otamendi got floored. He went down dramatically. Aguero was in again. What has happened that suddenly Aguero wants to get in fights? What's going on?
I don't he must be more aggressive, I guess.
Well, Jonty, he's just changing as a player completely, isn't he?
Well, it's going back to Guardiola again. He's starting from the back with Bravo. He's just slowly ruining the sides. You've got all of these great players. Now, Aguero, what's his strength? He's one of the best penalty area strikers the Premier League has seen. He's absolutely phenomenal.
Probably the best.
He's the guy you want there. So where is? So looking at that Everton game, so coming onto those penalty box touches, there he is in that game with just 3 the whole game. And what's happening is he is playing the furthest forward, but he's staying outside the penalty box and other players going in. So Guardiola's doing this. He's saying, because it's Sterling and Silva, they're the ones that were dominating, if you can call 8 and 7 penalty box touches dominating. They're the ones that are going in to try and score. But it's their best player at actually putting those goals away. He's keeping back. That's Guardiola doing that. He's telling them to do that. And we've seen with Aguero his transition to this role of just basically midfield thug somehow, from slick, elegant Premier League striker to midfield thug. And what's that? What's that all about? It's absolutely crazy.
It's unbelievable, though, because in the summer,
in
the summer we looked at Pep's arrival and we were like, well, Aguero's a shoo-in. Like Aguero under Pep, he's going to get 30 goals, and we were just there was no even any questions in it. It was like, how are we going to get De Bruyne in and Aguero? Now we don't want to touch either of them.
But with so much choice this season, for 12.8, even if Aguero hadn't suddenly turned into Joey Barton, then what the problem is that he still needs to do much more than he's doing.
I think Joey Barton had more touches in the box on.
Yeah, well, Joey Barton's looking like a better version of Aguero if you're looking at midfield thugs, because he scored at the weekend.
Well, you can't doubt Barton's midfield.
It's a nice comparison. Like that. But
I love it if Aguero scores a hat-trick this week. I'm going to absolutely.
Well, we do this every week.
But even a hat-trick for 12.8 million when you've got Harry Kane.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not telling anyone to buy him.
$1.5 cheaper. You can't.
Not telling him to do 3 weeks ago.
The other thing is, Apple Bonkers actually is watching now. He tweeted me. He said, for that kind of money in the past, when you've had like Van Persie, Drogba, Suarez, the other thing they've brought to the table is assists. And Aguero's only had one all season and created no chances in the last 3 games. So you're really just relying on goals. And if he's not getting in the box or in the box enough, then there's just no way you can justify that.
It's crazy. I think we're all agreed. It's just what is going on, Pep, and it's going to take a massive transformation, or like Luke says, a massive influx of talent in January. Don't see it. Mini league strategy. Lots of questions on this, and this is really interesting.
Yeah. So this is a good time of year because people are kind of at the top of their mini league and thinking, "Hang on, I want to stay here." And there's people who are like getting close, and they're looking. They've got enough games to catch up a lead. So, I mean, Badgeviller asks, if you're top of your mini league or thereabouts, is now the time to fill your squad with mostly top players from now until the end of the season? Essentially, go full dullard. So basically, fill it with Chelsea, Spurs, Arsenal, Liverpool, United, and then a couple of differentials. He's been quite maverick so far this season. Is it time to just go dull? So, I mean, I organise a cash mini league with friends. It's usually about 20, 25 of us. It's quite competitive. And I've won that every year that we've done that. And one of the reasons I've won that is the same strategy, is that I always make sure I cover who I think they're going to captain. And then I have 3 or 4 differentials who I think they won't get. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong. So last season, I was 140 points off the top. And I won it. And the reason I won it was just this method. And you've got to rely on people not doing it. So basically, usual things, follow form, fixture, all the things we talk about. But it's getting, the key is to get these 3 or so differentials and cover their captains. So for example, I've got Stanislas in. One of the reasons I've got him in is he's got great fixtures, he's got great form, great underlying stats. He's got 3.1% ownership. So a lot of people in my mini league are not going to be getting him in. So if you're the top or bottom and you want to retain the league, get someone like that in. They're not popular, but they've got good form and fixture. And an example here, just to finish on my spiel on this, one of the best fantasy managers around at the moment is someone no one will ever have heard of. He's called Giles Wanlin. He's top of my Millionaires League. And the reason I think he's the best manager at the moment, in the last 7 game weeks, he's gone from 1.1 million to 89,000. And that's absolutely huge. Reasons is he's followed those tactics. You look at his team, he's got Hazard, Lukaku currently, Sanchez, and Ibrahimovic. So he's covered all of his rivals and a lot of people's key captains, and then he's gone for some differentials, and he's lucked out there because he got Ali in game week 16. He's also got Alonso. Now Alonso on Fantasy Football Scout, we all think, oh, everyone's got Alonso.
Everyone's got him, yeah.
No, they haven't. 9 out of 10 managers haven't got him. I'm pretty much the only one in my cash mini league who's got Alonso. That's 20 points up on someone who's just got a 2-point defender. So that's the thing there. He got Callum Wilson in last week. That didn't work out. Callum Wilson at home to Watford could work out. So I like his. So basically, that's my answer to it. And
no, he's had a massive. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that you've. There's part of your strategy is to go dull with it eventually. That's for
no, it's not. It's not at all.
I remember you doing that in the mod.
No, but I didn't. I remember, that's the kind of thing Granville said. Oh, he's gone dull, and then he just switches off. But what it is what you do is you combine going dull, which is making sure you've got the key captains, and you make sure you cannot win without getting 3 or 4 of the differentials in. You cannot go completely dull. It's not only you just can't do it because you need those differentials to keep you ahead, and that's the fun bit. as well. So you've got to keep the game fun as well. So you cannot go fully dull. You do need to, and right up to game week 38, you need to keep looking at 2 or 3 differentials.
Luke, you're a veteran of mini leagues, particularly cash mini leagues. You love a bit of the Wonga going on in the background as well, don't you? So you must have some strategies and tactics, surely.
No.
Oh, come on.
I literally just don't look at, I mean, playing the Sky game, you can hide your team for most people. You don't even have the option to do that anyway. I mean, I've never really bothered about anyone else's team and who they've got. I've just got who I thought was going to score the most points and stuck to that, really. I can honestly say I've never bought in a transfer off the basis of anyone else below me or above me in a mini league. It's just not worked like that. Probably to my detriment, as my rank's a lot lower than Jonty in the last few years. But there we go. No, I just don't see the point in it personally. But there we go.
You're missing out on the fun there. What about you, Andy? I mean, do you look around you? I mean, you must be in mini leagues outside of FFS and outside of mods and cons. So how are you doing in those, and what are your tactics?
I have to be in leagues outside of those, otherwise I'd never win anything. But yeah, I will look at the other teams around me if I'm leading. Probably not this early in the season. But a bit in a few weeks, I'll start to look at what they've got, because we do get caught up in players thinking that either not differentials they are, when actually, maybe 4 out of 5 of your league members actually don't have them. I.e., Alonso, for me, I thought he was owned by everybody, but I was one of the only ones that had him. So yeah, I will look at the other players as we get there. I would tend to captain safe if I'm leading. Obviously, you'll always choose the player you think is going to score the most points. But if you're chasing, then you might look at someone you wouldn't necessarily go for who's got a good fixture. So, yeah, I'll captain safe. I will look at the other players, and I will block when it gets towards the end of the season. If there's a highly owned player by most of the league that's doing really well, I don't have him. I'll just get him in for the sake of it, just to keep that lead, basically, and give my opponents less opportunity to overtake.
From my perspective, I do study the opponent really carefully. I particularly look at their transfer history. I look at who they've just brought in, who they've just got rid of. And one of the things I've done in the Mods and Cons League about 6 or 7 weeks ago, I looked at the teams above me and I was like, there were some super teams. I mean, Jonty was talking about around those times, and Toys Magic has one of those teams. I thought Facer had one of those teams as well. He was destroying everybody in the Mods and Cons League. So at that point, I looked at him, well, the only way I've got a chance is I'm going to do something radical. And I went 3-5-2. I think I was one of the first in the Mods and Cons Leagues to go 3-5-2. And it's meant I've just reeled them in. It's just worked for me so well. And it meant I was able to get on Ericsson, or I was able to get on. I missed Ali's points, but I got on him, got Lallana for a few games. I was able to just shift my midfield around and gradually pull the points back. And Defoe has just been fantastic for me. I got on Ibra early enough. But having that 3-5-2 allowed me to bring them in. So what I'm looking at now, and the reason why I've gone Defoe to Lukaku, is Toys Magic's only just brought Defoe in. So he's not going to get rid of Defoe a week later. So I'm looking at that thinking, well, if I get rid of Defoe for Lukaku, he's got Kane in. He's not going to get rid of Kane. He's just got Defoe. He's not going to get rid of Defoe a week after getting him in. So he's not going to get Lukaku. So I'll get Lukaku and hope that makes up some ground. So there is some tactics there to be had. And he's probably listening to this going, oh, I'm going to get, so maybe I'm playing mind games with him. It's just there's just so much more angles and strategy to be had by looking at teams around you and adopting your strategies. I've always done it with Granville. Granville's always played mind games with me over a cup of coffee in the canteen. It goes on, and it's all part of the fun, isn't it, Jonty?
Well, yeah, I mean, you can do this bit of those mind games. I mean, some people do, just blatantly lies. Oh, I've got so-and-so in, and they haven't at all. They've just got someone else in.
I'm not lying.
You get lots of it, but no, I'm sure you have got those. But yeah, no, there is those mind games going on. I mean, what you've done there as well. See, that's in your position as well. So you need a differential from a rival, but the player you've got in is in fact not one of your 3 or 4 differentials. He's actually quite a dull player, because he's a player that's owned by a quarter of the game, who lots of people will be captaining, especially when they start.
I don't know. I think.
But so you've got a kind of bit of both. You've got a differential on arrival, and yet you've got that kind of captaincy option. So in a game week or two, Toys Magic might be getting Lukaku in. Well, he's just going to have to follow you then. So you're trying to anticipate what he might do.
The thing is, I'm looking at it going, if Lukaku scores at Palace, it's hopefully going to cost Toys Magic 0.2 more.
Yeah.
And if I keep by playing aggressively, by moving quickly, I'm getting the players a lot cheaper than my rivals will be able to get them in. That's the idea. I got Ericsson quickly. I got Ali straight away as soon as the bandwagon took off. And most people in our Contributors League don't have both. So I'm now moving ahead with both of those. I'm getting 0-1, 0-1, 0-1 on both of those. And So if one of them emerges as the key one, hopefully others behind me have got to spend more to get him. And I'm just trying to play it much more aggressively this season. If it means spending points, I'm going to do it. 4 weeks I've spent points. I've got green arrows in 3 weeks.
I think Everton are a good example. So say for someone, for example, is in a mini league where perhaps they've already got, some of their rivals have already got Lukaku in, and you're thinking of getting, right, so I'll get Lukaku in because I'm going to cover their dull captain choice. If you're in that position, have a look, as we've been talking about, Barkley, Morales, Baines. Now, these are very low-owned players, especially Barkley and Morales. So consider doubling up like you did with Chelsea defenders. So if you think Chelsea are going to get clean sheets and you've got double, every clean sheet your rival gets, you're getting 2. And if you think Everton are going to do well and your rivals have got Lukaku, get Lukaku and Barkley. Get the guy who assists him. So every Lukaku goal, you're getting another set of points.
I went Rose because everyone had Walker. I've gone Stanislaus because everyone's got Phillips. And it's basically, if you can go like for like I thought, well, Rose will do at least as well as Walker. I'll get Rose. I think Stanislaus over the next 2 should do as well as Phillips. I don't know if he'll do long term, but I think for the next 2, which will mean if I sell Hazard, I'll look at it again. So everywhere you go, if you can look at your transfers and go, is there a comparative asset with much lower ownership? Then that's the way I'm trying to play it.
And you should also think, like, so for example, I did a bit with Hazard. I looked at his away form and I looked at those and I thought, okay, lots of my rivals have kept Hazard. I'm betting that he's not going to do well these next 2 away games. And
that was a strong move.
So the players I got in, Stanislas and Phillips, to replace that position, did better. And those that perhaps got Ali or Ericsson in did even better as well. So you have to do those types of moves. Have a look at their kind of the person they keep captaining. Now, Aguero owners as well. If your rivals have got Aguero, you should be quite happy about that, I would imagine.
Well,
at the moment,
captain him as well, aren't they? Because to have Aguero now, the only way you can justify it is you put the armband on him and hope for the best. You can't have Aguero and not captain him, surely, at the moment. I mean, that would be. Luke, are you laughing because you didn't captain him?
I'm laughing because there's no way he's going to be my captain.
Well, this is it. If you've got Aguero, you're either backing him or you're not, really. And
well, that's the idea, isn't it? But it's a hindsight, isn't it? I expected him to do well when I brought him in. He's obviously not. So Sanchez is going to be my captain, as I'm sure most will get to that, I'm sure. But I think there's another way to take risks. I realise I do kind of have a tactic, but it's more to do with the captain with me. I don't really like the player risk generally for me. Won't work out quite a lot of the time, and then I'll have to rectify it, and in the end it costs you a lot of transfers, swapping players in and out. So it's fine if you're getting it right, but of course you can get it wrong, and then it costs you a lot of time and effort to keep reconstructing your team. So I think if you take a risk with the captain, that can really work out for a big shift as well. As we all know, it can obviously really hurt you as well, so you've got to pick your times. If you get it right, then happy days, and that's the way I prefer to take the risk anyway, and it has served me well in the past, not so well this season.
No, I think that's sound. I mean, look at it this week. It's Hazard or Sanchez for me. I look at what Torres Magic's going to do. He's got both as well. We could have different captains, and that's going to be a big differential. But yeah, I mean, I think you've got to get your captain right. And as Jonty said, if you get all the captain assets in, at least if you've got the same player as your rival and they captain them, at least you're not losing out on double the points. You're only losing out on 1 set of points from them. So I can see what you're saying about getting the staples, the Ibrahimovic, the Sanchez and the Hazard, just to cover all the possibilities of their captains. That's good advice. And then around that, it's the smaller stones, the differentials, which kind of works. Okay, let's do the weekend preview, Jonty.
Yeah, so we're looking at clean sheets and fancy on a risk. So let's go for clean sheets first. Luke, you're the sub guest for today, so you can go first. What's a good clean sheet?
And the least prepared, so thanks for coming to me first.
Yeah, exactly. Throw it straight at him.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm going to go for an unlikely West Brom clean sheet at home to Sunderland.
No, I think it's a good one.
Yeah, I just think that they've been so bad and not kept clean sheets that it's time to change. It's gone black too many times. It's going to come red now, and West Brom are going to keep one at home to Sunderland because, as you said, getting rid of Defoe, Mark's had the Midas touch. There's no way a -4 getting Defoe out is going to punish Mark, so that's definitely happening.
You think I've been lucky? I have been lucky with him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's probably going to get sent off or something. You'll see. The Granville sent me to spread this, you see. He told me to give you some banter and give you some sticks, so I thought I'd do that.
No, that's fair enough. No, I think that's a good pick. I think you're right. I mean, Sunderland away from home, I don't know. They've got the cup tie. They've just half their teams played tonight as well.
And he should be probably still out, do we think? I'm not sure if he'll be
Yeah.
back or not. I think he makes a big difference to him.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Good pick, I think. Andy.
Oh, I'm going to go very boring and take Chelsea against Hull. I think that's almost a dead cert for me. I know they've got Hernandez back now and they've always got Snodgrass, but yeah, I think Chelsea for me.
And John, to yourself?
Well, I think I'm going to go Bournemouth against Watford. I think they've got enough to do that. But I also think the good thing is that if you don't keep clean sheet, I think your Bournemouth defenders might get you some attacking points as well.
Yeah, I mean, Watford at the moment, you look at Swansea and Watford at the moment, Sunderland as the poor sides. Hull may be coming out of that.
They've barely scored any goals in the last month or so. They're just not a scoring side at the moment.
Lack of ideas and so on. Yeah, I'll go Middlesbrough, West Ham. Middlesbrough very strong at home. I know West Ham come off the back of the 3-0, will have some confidence, but I just think Middlesbrough got just strangle games. Absolutely. I mean, they've just got a way of playing where they just don't concede goals. It's a very dull, methodical way of playing. It's not very good to watch. But I watched the Leicester game last weekend. After 5 minutes, I was like, well, I've got the Chambers clean sheet here. And that was a week before last. And Watford, they got another one. I think they've got 3 clean sheets in 4. They're very strong at home. So I'll take Middlesbrough. I'll probably start Chambers with that in mind. Fancy Island this. Jonty, you've got the best one as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I've gone for Tadic. I refreshed my goals imminent table on Monday morning, and up popped Tadic there with 10 goal attempts, 6 shots inside the box.
He's got to have one game week, hasn't he?
And a lot of those came at that weekend. So, his form is rising. Now, the worry is that none of his shots have been on target, not a single one over the last 4 game weeks. So that is a worry. But if you can get a bit of accuracy, Leicester away are poor. I think Tadic can do well.
And Andy?
Yeah, I'm going to go for a new sign, and hopefully Allardyce is going to go for 3-5-2 and get Schluppen down the left, crossing balls into Benteke potentially. It is a bit of a risk, but 4.8 million. If he does start in a wing back kind of role, or even on the left side of midfield, then I'm already looking at him to bring in.
I think he will. I mean, because there's fishing around everywhere as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
What he's doing. I can only think he's going wing backs. He's going to play Delaney, Dan, and Tompkins, and play Jenkinson, I guess, when he gets him. Maybe, I don't know. It's odd. Maybe he's just getting as many defenders in as he can, and then make up his mind later. But Schlupp in an attacking position will be strong.
Yeah, agreed.
4-8. Yeah. Jonty, your fancy island is Tadic. We're coming to you then, Luke. Are you prepared for your fancy island risk?
I'm not, but I'm gonna snap a phobie. I don't know whether he'll start out of Hibber Wilson, but Watford, he's already mentioned, they just seem to be so bad at the back. And Bournemouth, I really like them at home. I know most of the points seem to be coming from Stanislas or their defenders, but I think a phobie's got to get in on the action, sooner or later, and I think that's a perfect game for him.
No, absolutely. I've got a couple. Arnautovic I like. Got the 2 goals at Sunderland, in form, and he always does well against the big clubs. He's got United. He scored against them last season. But I'm probably going to go Iwobi. I nearly went Iwobi instead of Stanislaus. I was looking for something different, and I looked at Arsenal's fixtures, and Iwobi started the last 5. His stats are strong. If you remember, you can look at big numbers tonight and have a look at that. So I think Iwobi is a good one against Burnley. You've got to think Arsenal are going to be good for a couple of goals in that. So I'll go Iwobi at 5.8. I think his price is a good choice. Okay, transfers and captains. We'll come to you first, Andy.
Yeah, I've got Giroud bought in this week, so obviously he's a bit of a worry. If he's in any way going to be injured, I'm probably just going to ship because I just don't have patience for that. And I'm going to fund it by getting rid of Sigurdsson because I just think I'm going to end up keeping him forever otherwise. So I'm going to take a hit, I think. And then, although I'm going to have to downgrade to get money, so it'll be ones you've already mentioned, Stanislas, Iwobi, or Morales is the one that I'm really pulled to. But I do like the fact that Stanislas is only 5.2 million. The only concern is if I do need to get rid of him, I have Phillips already as well. So it gets a bit tricky to kind of upgrade again. So yeah, Sigurdsson to one of those 3. And then Giroud to Lukaku. If Giroud's not fit, if he's confirmed that he can play, then I'll probably use that money in defence and do Holobas to Baines.
You got 2 free Ts?
Nope, I'm going to take a hit. I'm just going to never get rid of Sigurdsson, I think. I'm just going to have him in my team, and he's just not producing, really.
And your captain?
Yeah, captain. I don't know. I wasn't considering Hazard until I checked his stats, like his research before this. So I'm tempted by him. I'm probably not going to go Sanchez. He's probably 3rd on my list of all the players I own. But right now, it's on Ibrahimovic. I think he's just been so consistent. Scored again against Liverpool. Still averaging a crazy amount per game. So Yeah, away to Stoke. Because right now it's on Ibrahimovic, but I'm looking at Hazard too.
Really? I mean, it's a safe option, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, Luke, we'll come to you next. Transfers and your captain.
Captain's almost certainly going to be Sanchez. I just think he's done well to dodge points in the last few games. I know he's not, he's been pushed out wide and Giroud's been out there, but every game you watch him and the guy wants to score so bad. I just think that it's going to be another game that comes soon that's going to see him hit at least a brace, and I'm just hoping it's going to be this one. He just gets so much points, and being the midfielder, I think there's potentially a clean sheet point. It all adds up. I think he's a great option, so he'll definitely be my captain. In terms of transfer, as I already mentioned, I was looking at Antonio out for Coutinho to get him in early. But considering Antonio's form, I'm not sure whether I want to do it now. I may look at a hit. I actually got Kabay in as a punt after his Big Sam's first game with him, and he looked pretty good. I think Jonty eyed him up at one stage as well. He had a few shots, and he was sort of looked to be playing the number 10 role, potentially take penalties off of Ben.
Yeah, he's been the most improved under Big Sam. Not that many have, but he has.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it potentially could get penalties, and they had a few good fixtures. It's just not really worked out. But I think, should I jump off yet? Should I keep him? I'm not sure. I've got decisions to make. Yeah, I can't say for sure.
Jonty.
Yeah, I'm undecided, which is nice. I'm not a slave to the transfer market, which is nice. I'm just going to bide my time, do it Saturday morning or Friday night.
You're going to do it Saturday morning? I haven't done a Saturday morning.
Friday night, I don't know. No, actually, I will do it Friday night because I'm out a lot on Saturday. Okay. So, yeah, I'm a similar position to Andy. I've got Sigurdsson, Benteke, Giroud, if injured, and Holebas are the ones with a question mark over them. And Pedro or Eriksen, Kane or Lukaku, and Baines are the three lots of players. So I'm going to get one or two of those moves. I can't tell you at the moment. I have no idea. And I'll be captaining Sanchez, a sort of angry way when he was hauled off and that he couldn't get his impending hat-trick. Having Giroud is quite nice because if Giroud doesn't play and I captain Sanchez, I'm happy because Sanchez will be in a central role. If Giroud plays, I'm happy because then I'll get goals because Burnley are terrible away. So I think Sanchez is a nice captain. Yeah,
it's interesting. Sanchez, to me, the way I read it was he got to play central striker again, got a first goal, and wanted to just punish Swansea more. It looked like he just wants to score. This is appetite for goals.
Fantasy goal. That is a player who is absolutely desperate, and he had a right tizzy fit when he got hauled off. That's what you want.
It makes me think I've got to go Sanchez. I mean, Hazard is the clever option. It's pat myself on the back if that comes off, but I think it'd be silly not to go Sanchez. But TM's listening, so I'm not going to give too much away. My transfer's already done. My transfers did them early as usual. It seems to be like a habit for me at the moment. I just don't want to worry about the price rises. So Siggy went with a heavy heart. I wanted Siggy to work out. I really did. I put so much faith in him. Lovely player. I love him as an asset. But it's just 1 assist in 5. I can't keep that. I think he made 1 assist in 6. And the fixtures are poor. He doesn't seem to be overriding this poor form Swansea. He can't do it. So he's gone for Stanislaus, which I think is a good move. You love Stanislaus, don't you, John T? Free kicks, penalties, 6 assists and 4 goals in 10.
Cheap. Yeah. People talk about fifth midfielder form. Doesn't matter. You just play him because he's got all of those points.
Yeah, and I looked at their next 5 home games, and he's strong at home. Next 5 home games: Watford, Palace, Man City, West Ham, and Swansea. That's their next 5 at home. They've got 5 in 8 at home as well. So that swung it for me. Stanislaus came in, and Lukaku's come in because I think he's a weapon. I think that's going to be effective for me, and hopefully, yes, he's owned by 25%. I question how many of that are active. I think it's probably about maybe 5 to 8 to 10% maybe even may not be active anymore. I don't think he's widely owned as that. I think that still Kane has been the popular choice for go to Costa, and everyone's got Ibrahimovic. So I think I've got a little bit of an edge there for a couple of weeks. But I think if he scores at Palace, everyone's going to jump on him and hopefully have to pay a bit more for him. I didn't want to lose the price. I could only just make that if I did it the other night. So I've done it. And then I haven't got to monitor the price rises because I don't like doing that every night. 1 o'clock every night. I know Torres Magic is there every night. Post them up on the site.
Well, speaking of Torres Magic, Mind Games have started.
Oh, is he on there? Is he?
Yeah, Hazard's perhaps for captain.
Yeah, see, I know.
So he's going to be captaining Hazard.
No, not listening. I know. It's good. It's good. My new rivalry there. I mean, Spencer's going to catch me. They're all going to overtake me eventually. But I'm having fun while it lasts in a one-on-one duel with TM, because he's always about on the site, so he's always there to be teased. So it's great. 24-hour mind games that is with TM. So it's brilliant. Okay, that's right. One thing to mention: the FanDuel Social League started this week, John. Do you want to take it away with that? Because we've got to sign up. That'd be an extra bit of extra fun, bit of extra rivalry.
Well, this is good, yeah, because this is free to enter, and there's around 450 worth of prizes, so FanDuel credits, vouchers, things like that. Free to enter, lasts for 4 game weeks, and there's a system basically whereby you can win prizes each game week over the next 4, and then there's prizes for overall. And I think they're doing it so that they measure the best 3 game week scores you get.
3 scores. So if you have a stinker or you miss first game week,
so if you miss if you miss out, it's not too late to join, and you can keep joining over that 4-week period. And as we talk about it, it's a good format for us because there's lots of stats to look at there, but also basically goals rule the day as well. So
I had a look at between today. There's some bargains in there. I've got to say, Schneidlin at 4.8 is interesting if he brings in.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I know. Have a look at that. Little bit of a tip there. I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, I'll have.
Well, I'll have a look at your team. We'll send our teams out on social before the weekend, but we're in it, so come and try and beat us as well. A little bit of extra fun on top of my duel with TM. Thank you very much for joining us, Luke. Thanks for crashing in. It was very welcome you to see you crashing in halfway through. That's very good of you to join that. I'm replacing Granville at the last minute, and the wallpaper, as always, excellent stuff. And Andy, Shane Long in the background for you, not so floor, but always good. Thanks for joining us, Andy, and Jonty. Thank you for the rough and smooth community questions and your usual contributions. We will be back next week. Week after, we got Tuesday matches as well, so we're going to have to look at that. Are we going to do a live Scoutcast while the matches are still on, perhaps? Maybe.
Oh, no. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, we've done that before.
We have, yeah. And it's transfer window as well that Tuesday.
It's often quite disappointing when we do that.
Yeah, I've got bad memories of that.
Yeah. We'll have to see if we do that. But that's not next week. That's the week after. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. It's a good night for me.
Good night from me.
Good night.
And good night.
Good night, all.